It's that special time of year for winter festivities and Pokemon Masters. Gee, I wonder who's gonna get a special sync pair this time. Oh, Whitney? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get this party started. I actually only recently got around to playing through this event, but I was really happy with how everything went. First of all, I only had a handful of gems saved up, but thankfully on my second 10 scout, I got the Holiday 2022 Whitney and Sawsbuck. And on top of that, my friend got the Holiday Jasmine with Ampharos, so already between the two of us, we were only taking W's. Anyway, I thought it was a cool choice to include these two as the seasonal scouts for this year, and it's great that we've kind of seen them as friends before. It sorta reminds me of how Nessa and Leon were featured last year and were further built as friends along with Sonia. So focusing on friends for the holidays is a good idea. I think giving Whitney a Sawsbuck is interesting. It is in fact a normal type Pokemon, though I think a Stantler would have been more fitting because it's a normal type Pokemon from the Johto region, which would make more sense, especially because we've already seen Festive Stantler. Though I wonder if they're holding out on giving Stantler to a main character because it has a Hisuian evolution in Wyrdeer, and they may still add characters from Legends Arceus in the future. If hypothetically they did, Mai and Wyrdeer would be an obvious sync pair. But Sawsbuck does have the added benefit of attacking with grass moves, and it honestly would only work as a seasonal sync pair, so I'm pretty happy with it. Also during the story, she mentioned she got it from a trainer in Unova, and I realized that she has been in Unova for the Pokemon World Tournament, though I wonder who exactly gave it to her. And of course, Jasmine and Ampharos is a pair we've been waiting a long time for. We do find out later that this isn't Amphi that we know from the main story of Gold and Silver, but is instead a younger one trained as a successor, which is a pretty nice idea. Because Amphi's got a job to do, there's no way it's leaving its post. Also a really obscure connection, but one of the only TCG card arts to acknowledge Christmas is this Flaffy from Expedition. I just find it a cute little coincidence. Well, the story begins with Jasmine looking after an Ampharos that's feeling a little sad. Whitney suggests throwing a party to cheer it up, and so after an outfit change, they start getting everything ready. And of course I love these outfits too. They're relatively simple, being festive themed. Whitney's is red and white, which resembles Santa Claus's clothing, thus confirming him as canon. And she has some nice antler shaped hair clips inspired by Sawsbuck. Jasmine's is also interesting, being mostly white like her regular clothing. The hat's kinda cool because even though it covers up one of her hair tails, it still keeps the symmetry with how it's shaped. Though while they're preparing everything, Erica shows up, I'm guessing mostly because she has a holiday alt as well. But then I remember that she and Jasmine already had connections, and through their conversation we get the first hints of what exactly is going on as she tells Jasmine not to push herself too hard. Though it does make sense why she would be, as we already know how responsible she is for Amphi back at the Olivine Lighthouse. So of course she's trying all she can for this Ampharos. Speaking of which, Ethan also shows up because this is a Johto focused event and we Johto fans stay winning. Meanwhile, Whitney is mostly just getting things ready in terms of food, recruiting Seabold, who also has a holiday alt. Lastly, Volkner shows up to help with the lighting, which I think is another nice little touch as a nod to the video games, from the time that Jasmine was in Sunyshore City in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, and then Whitney invites Leon and Nessa. And finally, the party begins, being made up exclusively of characters who have holiday outfits, which by the way at this point in time is a whopping 8. And of course Ethan and Volkner as mentioned before. And they did invite Trista from the Pokemon Center at the very beginning of the story, but I like how this is a nice little personal holiday party amongst friends rather than a huge event or festival. It's completely appropriate for the occasion as Whitney and Jasmine just want to cheer up a Pokemon. It's a nice change of pace and it actually ends up working for Ampharos. Though after a day of straight work, Jasmine faints from exhaustion, and while she's passed out, I actually like this little visual representation of her trying to find her way out of a dark void, following a light that's clearly meant to be Ampharos until she wakes up. It's such a nice little way of Ampharos showing some appreciation for all that she's done, doing what it does best and lighting its way for the lost. I mean, Ampharos is so bright, even Cyrus all the way outside of town sees this light. I'm trying to figure out why he was shown off here though. I mean, we already got the Sinnoh villain arc, so I don't think it's built up for that, unless I'm completely missing something. Though he is a character from Sinnoh and would know about the Sunyshore Lighthouse, so maybe that's it. Anyway, back at the party, Jasmine wakes up and learns her lesson. Of course she cares a lot about Ampharos and was doing all she could for its sake, but in the process neglected to take care of herself, forgetting that people care about her well-being as well. They all wouldn't have shown up if that weren't true. And the fact that Whitney wasn't personally responsible for Ampharos in the same way Jasmine was, yet she worked just as hard if not harder to make the party happen by inviting everyone and ensuring other preparation, goes to show just how much she cared for Jasmine. And of course how Ampharos was the one who wound up saving her at the end of the night really drove it home. The next day after the party, Jasmine further realizes the importance of their friendship and is able to truly feel relieved. I think this was a nice little story, being relatively small in scale, but that all makes it so relatable. The more people we have in our lives, the more we tend to not only care about them, but sometimes worry about them, even to our own detriment, especially around the holidays. And seeing the story through Jasmine and Whitney works even better. We know how responsible Jasmine is despite her age, and we know how excitable Whitney can be. And the fact that these are two characters we've known since Generation 2 makes it even more nostalgic and sentimental. But that was just my experience with the recent holiday event in Pokémon Masters. I felt obligated to discuss it at some point in some way because I did that with last year's event, and also because it featured one of my favorite characters in Pokemon. I don't know how often I'll do things like this for Pokemon Masters, but let me know if it's something I should keep up or further adapt. I mostly just discuss it whenever I come across something that interests me personally, just like this event, but I'm glad everything worked out for our friends over in Paseo. This whole thing just really brightened up my week. It truly was a cute little Christmas. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators: Jackson, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Michaela, Mr. Pig Puncher, Phantom Pyro, Quago, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to get your name shouted out here, as well as access to emotes for comments and live streams, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter for more memes. Anyway, this has been GatorEX, and I wish you all happy holidays and a very Merry Christmas. I'll catch you all later.
On the weekend of Christmas on Kids WB, you'll see 3 Pokemon plus the brain and the little Chinky.
We're spreading the holiday cheer with 3 Pokémon episodes, plus a very special Pinky and the Brain Christmas, this weekend on Kids WB.